All right, you maggots, listen up. One of the other funny things that sort of happened at the Radio Shack is some guy come in and he said to me, someone told him that if you put a light bulb on the end of a CB antenna, whenever you transmitted, it would light up. And I thought about it for a while, and I said, yeah, I think it's the base mount, trunk lid mount antenna. So the guy next to me, he goes over to the wall. He gets an N. I said any 52, no, any one, whatever. It's like a 70-volt neon bulb. It glows orange. So it was kind of getting dark, and the guy went over. He got you get two for whatever, 98 cents. He went over. He ripped it open. He ran out to his car, which a lot of the people kept their cars in the fire zone. That's a whole other story. And he wrapped the leads around the top of the antenna, and then he went in and keyed it. As soon as he keyed the microphone, the neon bulb lit. And then they come in, and I started explaining to them that in the base mount, which is a trunk mount, there's like, say, 4 turns of wire that go to the radio, and then 20-something turns after that, whatever the amount of turns. So that's basically a step up. So if you got about 12 volts RF coming from the radio, and you got 5 times the turn amount of turns, so you get a step up, you get RF, and it lights the light bulb. So the guy that's working with me, he starts selling people the NE2s, well, anyway, whatever they are. He starts selling to people, and as I'm going home, you start hearing the guy, oh, what's that light glowing on it? And he tells the guy, go to Radio Shack. I'm listening to this on this. I'm like, this. So we were selling a lot of NE2s, and everything was fine. And a couple of people, there was a 4-foot whip that went on a bumper mount, and it wouldn't make it glow. And they'd come in and quiz me. I said, look, there's no step up. Your RF is coming out about 12 volts RF out of the antenna, and it's not enough to step up and make the tube glow. So everybody knew that the base mounted antenna on the trunk lid mount would make the light glow, but the 4-footers wouldn't do that. So anyway, this is going on. As I'm going down the highway, I start to see cars with regular light bulbs on the tip of their CB antenna, and 2 wires wrapped all the way down going to the 12 volts, and they're glowing white the whole time they're driving around. And these are big Cadillacs. They have back in those days, they had like shag rug in them and stuff. I won't tell you what they were, those, but anyway, those were the cars that are driving around. And we're in the Radio Shack, and it's like a Saturday, and one of these big cars pulls up in the fire zone, which is in front of the store. And the guy comes in and he says, someone told me, where's John? Yeah, I'm here. Some guy told me you're the expert. My radio doesn't get out at all. And then when he pulled up, I saw the light glowing. I went out there and I said, you can't do this. Well, why can't you do this? I said, did your radio work before? Yeah. When did they do this? They just did this. And the radio stopped working. You can't do this. You go around in circles with an idiot for a while. And I was good at that. You know, if I stand there long enough and keep explaining it to the guy, he's going to realize that what somebody did to make the car look cooler just undid the CB radio. So I take the wires off, and I unwrap them from the antenna, and I had gotten my SWR meter out there, and right away the radio started working. It was picking stuff up. But the guy goes, well, how do I do both? Can I put a switch in? I said, look, as soon as you wrap wires around that antenna and bring them down through the body of the car, that's squelching out the signal. And the guy's looking at me. He wanted both. You can't have both. So he's like, well, it was so cool. Yeah, you're a real dandy. A lot of dandies out there, folks. They want to look good, but, you know, it's like at the bicycle rides. We're going to do a 100-mile bike ride. And there were people showing up in all these uniforms and skin-tight materials. And the one guy says to the one guy, and he says, hey, Marvin, you look good, but can you ride? Well, Marvin had the Bell helmet that tapered back like the Olympic team used, and he had all these special options on his bike. He made it like 3 miles, 4 miles, and he was out of breath, and he got off the bike, and he took the sag wagon back. But it was so funny, the guy goes, "Hey, Marvin, you look good, but can you ride?" See, if you look good, you can do a 100-mile bike ride. You can't. But the funny stuff that would happen, you're in the Radio Shack, and the people come in and they get you. They used to get me going in a circle, and I say, "Look, it's not going to work." Well, why can't this work? And why can't they make shit up in their head, and they're in a fantasy world. And then you come along and be negative. See, a lot of people say to me, "You're just negative." No, there's reality, and you're not in it. And then they got even madder. But in other words, they would ask me, "How come this doesn't work? And how can you explain to an idiot how something works?" So they just stare at you like, "You're bringing me down. You're bumming me out." It's so funny. But I just wanted to tell you that. Yeah, picture these guys with these big Cadillac cars, and they got a guy that's running wires and twisting them around, wrapping them up around the antenna, and putting a white light bulb, a regular incandescent at the top, and hooking it up so when the car battery, the lights are on in the car, the tip of the antenna is lighting up. See, somebody mentioned to someone, and I said, "Yeah, probably NE2." And I said, the guy went out there and man, it worked 1, 2, 3. And then I explained to them why. Well, why don't it work for the 4-foot whip? And then when I'd explain it, the next time somebody came in there, one of the salesmen would try to explain to them why the 4-foot whip didn't work versus the base load. And it was so funny to hear. It's like playing that game, Elephant, where you pass a message around to 20 people. And you have the message that went out and what comes in, that kind of thing. But the guy, after a while, I just stopped correcting him. The customer in a lot of cases would believe the guy that was just rambling nonsense over me, and that's what I realized too. I guess I didn't have that confidence that an idiot has, right? So, you're a bummer, you're a negative person. Well, you can't squeeze a buffalo nickel and get a quarter. It would be nice if you could do that, squeeze a nickel and get a quarter, but reality says it won't work. I think that's it. All right, that's it.